Well, did the U.S. and NATO help kill thousands of Libyans? All signs point to yes, but first, some context. You may have heard that it started with just some rain, but then a lot of rain as the fallout from a storm completely devastated civilian infrastructure, causing historic flooding in Libya. Now, the death toll now is still being contested in Libya. They're saying around 3,000 to 4,000, but the United Nations is saying triple or double that.
I've seen numbers over 20,
15,000.
Yeah.
So
there was one coastal city that I think they said, I saw a report like a week ago or so that said there was like 5,000 people when the dam broke, like were completely wiped out instantly. Just like up to 5,000 people.
yes.
So why is Libya saying 3,000? I've seen, I'm seeing over 20,000. And it might even be way higher than that.
Right.
Maybe they're being conservative in that number, but
I'm not sure right now, especially considering that so many now countries are offering diplomatic aid. So it's unclear why the numbers would be underestimated, but we know it's in the thousands. Now, the different countries who have stepped up and said, yes, we will offer aid, and different associations, we found this one to be the most ironic. Here is a tweet from former President Barack Obama saying, if you're looking to help people impacted by the floods in Libya, check out these organizations providing relief. And then he links through the Obama Foundation. Now, I almost fell out of my chair here.
Yeah.
I cannot believe that Barack Obama would even dare to mention Libya, even type it out on a keyboard. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that if you really want to help Libya, this may be the worst way to funnel support through a foundation ran by Obama, because let's just remind ourselves exactly how Obama dealt with Libya while he was in office. Libya was a prosperous nation when Obama was in office. The biggest problem, as the West saw it, was that their leader, Muammar Gaddafi, was an Arab nationalist. Now, by that I mean that he wanted Arab countries to decide for themselves on their future and prosper from their own resources. That, if you're a Westerner, is a problem. Laughable, right? Of course, the Arab nations can't decide for themselves. We decide for them and prosper based on those resources. So to topple Gaddafi, the Obama administration first armed extremists with weapons. That's when Obama coined the term moderates, moderate rebels, like Al-Qaeda adjacent,
right.
Al-Qaeda light, right? Junior varsity Al-Qaeda. So they came up with the word moderates. But that wasn't going fast enough, so the U.S. rallied NATO allies for an attack. Now, here's a little background to how that went, summarized beautifully in Scott Horton's book, Enough Already. And I'm just going to summarize this for you, because not only did Obama not ask Congress for authorization, he was not even in town. He was in Brazil when this operation took place. Here's what he said. He falsely claimed that Gaddafi had vowed to murder every civilian in Benghazi, and that his forces were already on their way to the job if the U.S. did not stop them on time. He claimed there were 700,000 real men, women, and children under the threat of extermination, and asked Americans to imagine the entire city of Charlotte, North Carolina being completely wiped out. The administration also claimed that Gaddafi was bombing peaceful protests and spread the ridiculous propaganda that Gaddafi had given all his soldiers Viagra so that they could sexually assault every woman and girl they found on their rampage to the east. These were all lies, but it was good enough because the bombs came raining down. Now, at the time when he was speaking in Brazil, he said, quote, "We are part of a broader coalition." And the Pentagon later said that other Arab League members were out to join forces to start bombing Libya too. Look at this headline from 2011. This basically says, make no mistake, we're part of a broader coalition. And the Pentagon says, yeah, any minute now, other African and Middle Eastern nations are going to show up any minute now. We're a team. Well, by Arab forces, he meant the UK and France. So I guess they decide that you don't know geography and that you'd buy that those are part of the Arab League. They're not. Here's a little hint. Next time, you guys, if France and England are the only people on your side, that's a NATO attack. That's not an Arab League attack. And this attack came at a heavy toll on civilians. Look at this 2011 coverage of an F-15 that went down. The crew was safe, but the civilians who tried to help them were not. So this F-15 went down. We were told the crew was fine. And when local civilians met the plane and went to offer fruit juice to the crew because they were in distress from their crash, a military helicopter attacked them and opened fire.
Killed 6 civilians, including a young boy
who they thought would lose his leg. Now, I think it's generally agreed that Obama agreed to this war, even though the U.S. was already in 5 wars at the time, because Hillary Clinton and her staff of advisors wanted it. They thought that they could use it as a launch pad to her presidential run in 2018 as proof that she was really hard hitting on foreign policy. In fact, here she is bragging about the outcome before anyone really knew how catastrophic it was for the Libyan people.
So, I mean, that is the land of unconfirmed.
Yes, we came, we saw, he died.
Did it have anything to do with your visit?
No, I'm sure it did.
I mean, can you imagine just laughing?
Yeah, that's odious, and it's odious that the journalist laughs with her.
Well, in the room full of people like that's hilarious. We came,
funny.
we saw, we killed, we literally destabilized and destroyed a country, one of the most oil-rich, prosperous countries in the world, trying to be self-reliant. And we fabricated a story, and we killed him. And I'm just laughing about it in my pantsuit.
Yeah.
Unbelievably odious.
Yes, it is. But it soon became known that that was odious and that the NATO attack on Libya was such a war crime that she didn't dare to bring it up during her presidential campaign at all. Here's a question this is the question that haunts me, right? Because why didn't anyone else bring it up? Why were Republicans so focused on her email records when they could have just said, you launched a war that killed 1 million people, or, well, 1 million is not an exact, you perpetrated war crimes on an innocent country. How about we push you on that instead of your email? It makes me feel like both parties are part of the same coin, because when we're told that, attacks on Hillary are sexist or attacks on Obama are racist, but we don't actually attack the fact that they perpetrated these war crimes, it's a missed opportunity for Republicans, and it's a distraction from Democrats. Could it be because they're all 2 sides of the same coin, all of them neocons who want a win on the backs of innocent people? Now, the UN estimates that close to 400,000 Libyans were displaced from the U.S. attacks on Libya, and it left them without the infrastructure to deal with such natural disasters as of this one. Journalist Chris Hedges said this about the U.S. NATO imperialism and how it cost so many lives. He found a professor who said the fragmentation of the country's disaster management and disaster response mechanisms, as well as deteriorating infrastructure, exacerbated the enormity of the challenges. The political situation is a driver of risk. He said that most human casualties would have been avoided if they had a normally operating meteorological service, which would have issued warnings, and also the emergency management of this would have been able to carry out the evacuations of people. When the West perpetrates these regime change missions and then destroys entire countries, he points out at the bottom, we just then later forget they exist. Well, they exist. And now it's estimated that an extra 40,000 people who survived are displaced. And so, yes, there are relief efforts. Russia has sent a team of doctors in a mobile hospital. The U.S. has sent $11 million in aid. China has pledged 30 million yuan, but no apologies from any of the nations that kneecapped the country to begin with. European Union MP Mick Wallace put it this way for the lip service that the West is now paying to Libya. Are you actually serious? Now you care about the people of Libya after this NATO attack helped to destroy the country, destroy innocent lives. Imagine if the international law would actually hold these people accountable instead of just you can send a few Band-Aids. So that's what we have for you on Libya tonight.
Let us know your thoughts on this. A war criminal Obama. Go ahead, Philip.
I just want to know how much we spent bombing Libya, how much we spent to put them in this position, and then we send 11 million to fix it.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
We bomb the infrastructure so that this flooding happens. I mean, that's the main part of the story, right? Is that all of our bombing destroyed the way to deal with flooding capacity.
Right.
We destroyed the infrastructure. We destroyed the dam infrastructure. We destroyed the sewage. We destroyed all of it through bombing. So, of course, they don't have the infrastructure to deal with, I mean, that's exactly why these people died, because there was no infrastructure in place, because we destroyed it all. And how much did we spend doing that? And now we're going to grab $11 million to throw at them to, like, here's some food and some clothing.
It's like,
Yeah, no,
we
what
feel so
Philip's
righteous,
point is, go ahead.
oh, sorry. I was just going to say, we feel so righteous. We come with a knife and a Band-Aid, and we're like, yeah, I know we stabbed you, but hey, here's a Band-Aid.
Right. Yeah. Our opportunity cost in actually destroying them in the first place, outweighs what it costs to fix it. We could have not have done that.
Yeah, we could have not. Could we just not do that? Yeah. And then Hillary Clinton was asked separately in an interview, like, about this mission and how, we knew that he was going to attack his people. We knew that this was about to happen. We knew all of these things were in place and were about to happen. And so we took action. We saved Libyan lives, she says. It's unbelievable.
She said our partners in Europe were asking us for that. None of that's true. Yeah. None of that is true. So
she said, and when she said that soundbite, it was an unbelievable moment, because she says, we saved Libyan lives. We saved not one American life was lost, and we saved Libyan lives at the same time. It's an unbelievable soundbite that she said. Thank you so much for watching this segment here at Redacted. We are live every day at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, trying to share the stories that the mainstream media will not cover. You should also come over and join our community of Redacted Rebels over at redacted.inc. That's our private locals community where we can share exclusive content that we simply cannot share here on YouTube. Come over and join the rebellion together right now by going to redacted.inc. We'll see you next time.